Hey guys, this is Black7 here, and today we are doing our semifinals matchup against Kevin, as this is basically kind of a grudge match or a rematch or a friendly rivalry battle, as the music implies, so everything is all happy, so now, as you all hear, so, man, no lie, I'm gonna break from the battle, Pokemon, Battle Revolution music is probably one of my favorite in the entire series, especially this one. So I figured this would be a nice video to include some of these Battle Revolution videos. So yeah, or music. So yeah. All right, so let's get into the battle. So I did a very extensive team builder, which I'll leave in the description below if you guys want to watch that, because I am going to be discussing my team there. So I'll just give a quick rundown. We have like pretty much a defensive trend with rocks. Taunt, Flower Plume, and Toxic, just to wear down his mons. We have Crocodile at Scarf, but we're going to try to save that for the end game. So we have a very offensive Fortress that's actually very utility based, but has Pixie Plate boosted Moonblast, so that's going to help us two-shot something like Landorus, even Clefable if it takes some rocks damage, so yeah. Then we have Mega Latias with Ice Beam, Psychic Charm, just to ensure that Landorus and Scrafty don't get too crazy. So yeah. Then we have our Girder, which is very defensive, consistent on mons like, let's say, opposing Roserade, Milo, and even like Scrafty or Scizor, Landorus, and whatnot. So yeah. Then we have my Manaphy set, which is a very familiar set if you know me. So we'll get to that in a bit. So if you watched the video, you kind of know. So yeah. Now going into this battle, this is a very interesting matchup since Kevin does bring it's almost the same team except for maybe Scizor over Mesprit. So I had a feeling he would bring like the same 5 mons. It's just like I didn't know what to bring Mesprit. So I had a feeling Landorus, Milo, Clefable, and Scrafty were gonna make an appearance here. Scizor was the only mon I didn't know if he was gonna bring it. And it could be some kind of like choice band set with Pursuit to trap my Lottie and just pick off everything else. And same with Roserade, I don't know if it was like some kind of offensive set or like just a standard hazard stacking set. Now Clefable is probably the biggest, and Landorus were probably the biggest threats to this team, because I felt Clefable with like Magic Guard could actually be a problem. Which is ironic to say, since I was feeling with it unaware, but like, yeah. So going into this game, I felt like my safest lead was probably Latias, since there was few Pokemon that could take a switch in, but if he leads Scizor, that's good on him. So he goes into Roserade, and I go to my Lottie, and already I have a good matchup here, and I could do whatever I want. So here I just go for damage. I go for the Ice Beam, I believe, or Psychic. And I go for Psychic. I do a good chunk. And Clefable, it gets a good chunk to Clefable that I'm like, alright, I'm satisfied with the damage. As, I'm debating now who to switch into. So, obviously, I have my Tran. And I just want to switch into it immediately. So, I got a Heatran. And as he goes for Thunder Wave, he reels that. And I'm like, oh, great. Now I can't really do much here. So with Tran, I can't really outspeed, let's say, Milo, Scrafty, Scizor anymore, or even like a defensive Roserade or Landorus. So yeah, the speed on my Heatran is kind of nearly useless. But at least if I could get with rocks, I can like get like good information on his team and just get some chip. So I do get rocks up as he goes into Milo. He goes back to Cletus, as I do go into my Manaphy here, as he gets some recovery. So one thing I do note is that he does Magic Guard, and I immediately take note of this, and I'm like, okay, what could I do here? So he revealed Thunder Wave, so he has to have Soft Foil and Moonblast. So he could have a mono attack and Calm Mindset, which I have seen is possible. So yeah. So in this situation, I decide to reveal my tech as he goes for Thunder Wave, but with Hydration, Rain Dance, I am able to cure this status, so yeah. Now, he says, you cheeky bastard. That's kind of a funny one. Let me see if I can move it. No, I don't want to move it, but it's kind of funny what he said. But still, we were able to get up Rain, as I want to gauge the damage of this cliff, or the damage of this Clefable before I go for full setup. So I decide, you know what, I'm gonna go for my Surf, and it does a lot to this Roserade. However, I realize now that this Roserade may or may not have like a very defensive set. So at this point, I'm realizing, yeah, this could be either Scarf or like a very offensive set. And of course, I can't kill this Roserade, and I don't want to use my Z option. So I guess that's a little spoiler. So yeah, he goes for Giga Drain. I get some chip. Gets a chip on Laddie, but obviously I'm very Spadef. Or like I have max HP, so and I already have a lot of Spadef naturally. So yeah. So yeah. Here I decided to go for the I believe the Ice Beam, just to get a freeze on the Clefable, because if I get a freeze on Clefable, I just practically win this game. Or that just ensures that I can like just get rid of Clefable right then and there. I don't want to deal with Clefable at all, because it is by far the biggest threat. As he already has T-Wave, so yeah. I do think that the Rain Dad's Hydration Mana Free is now coming clutch now, so yeah. But this, as we know now that this Clefable is Magic Guard, very likely has Soft Boil and Moonblast. So yeah. Here I decided to switch out, go into my Mana Feed, try to attempt to set up here, since he does has a Magic Guard over Unaware, so I can't set up again. So here I decide to go for another Rain Dance. As I should have honestly just went for my Z move, but then again I wanted to save my Z move for either Milo, Landorus, Scizor, well any of his mons really. I just wanted to save it for like for a good situation. So yeah. Here I switch out and go back to Latias, as he's trying to. At this point I'm like thinking this might be Scarf Roserade, because he keeps switching in and out of it too many times. And I'm like kind of convinced that this might be Scarf. So yeah. So I'm pretty much convinced of this situation. Then he goes to the Milo, as I do go for the Ice Beam, and I do get the Freeze, which is huge. However, this doesn't really give me like much, because as you'll see, he does have Scald, but I do get some free chip damage. So with the Psychic, if there's one thing I do regret in this battle, and it's definitely not running Surf over Ice Beam. Because Surf would have been able to like pretty much two-shot the Scizor in Rain, which would have been hilarious and also fun at the same time. So yeah, I am able to get some good chip on this. This Latias is forced to. I mean, this Milo is forced to go for the Roost or the Recover here, as he does. So I already know his two moves, Scald and Recover. So now I have to determine, okay, what's the other ones? Whether it's Haze, Toxic, Whirlpool, Miracle, Ice Beam, whatever. So, or Refresh. It could be any of those options. So I decided my best thing is to go into Milo, and he has Dragon Tail. So I already know that he doesn't have a way to hit, or he doesn't have a way to like. He doesn't have a coverage option, so he probably has either Toxic or like another status option. So I already know, or Refresh, since I noticed that he did run Refresh last week, so that actually helped him against I think the Skirt guy. So yeah, unfortunately he doesn't get into my Hamburglar, which now's not the time to steal any burgers. As I don't want Blue to like, or my Hamburger to die here. He goes to the Mantis, the Scizor, and here I actually thought a little bit here on whether to pop my Z move. But I want to get a good sense of damage here. So since I am max special attack mana free timid, I'm gonna get a good chip onto the Scizor. And I'm not so sure whether this is a roll, but yeah, it does a good amount that I really like it. Yeah, he goes back to the Milotic, and I go into Surf. So yeah, so there's not really much I'm getting out of this Milotic anyway. So yeah, at this point I'm trying to see what he's doing, so I go for another Surf, as he reveals Miracle, and this was, I don't want to say it's kind of a misplay on his end, but him revealing that kind of makes me now wary of not attacking this thing at all. And with the coverage options I have, with the mono attacking water moves I have, if I can this thing now becomes setup fodder. This Milotic now, it's just now setup fodder. Because if I ever want to set up on this Milotic, I can. And I will. With +2, like, or +6, like Togo with in the rain with Z Hydro Vortex, that will definitely get Milotic. So that's what I was like. That was one of my endgame strategies. So just to break Milo and just sweep him from there. And of course, being with my last option being rest, I could have like the option to recover off any HP damage as I'm doing. So yeah. Here I decided to go to Girder. Just try to see what he wants to do. Just try to remove his item. And he goes for Dragon Tail, and unfortunately he gets into Crocodile. And I don't want this anymore, so I go into my Florges just to get the I don't want him to get a Dragon Tail on, so now I'm kind of risking this situation because I kind of want to force him out into Clefable or Landorus, because Clefable and Landorus is a good chance I could two-shot to either of these Almons, but he does have a Roserade and Scissor right there on hand, so yeah. As this is pretty much a huge turn right here. He goes into Scizor as I get a crit Moonblast, which is very huge. Now, let me just talk about what just happened, even though you just saw it. That crit mattered. Yes, it did. If I was Specs, it wouldn't have mattered, but since I was Pixie Plate, there is a chance that he lives with a crit. But in that regard, to my defense, Scizor revealing only BP, or only not BP, but like defog means or implies that it's a very defensive Scizor, built exclusively because I think he realized that Buffalon could just two-shot his entire team, and I think that's the reason why he brought it, because he was kind of forced to bring it, like a Mon that had like a natural resistance against Buffalon. And I didn't bring Buffalon at all. I actually brought Girder, and I think that kind of worked out in my favor. So yeah, in terms of planning. But this really just, this pretty much, I don't want to say it speeds up the battle in my favor, but it kind of does, because now this Florges is looking very good versus him, and now he goes into Cover Cat, Landorus, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty much game make or break right here. This is pretty much the game right here, so with my investment, I should be able to take an Earthquake, or at worst, like a Z, like, well, it depends, like, I have to really much call, like, whether he's gonna Swords Dance or Rock Polish, or Setup, or just switch out in a sense, so yeah. And I realized there's no point in me giving him any free setup, so I'm pretty much have to commit to going for a Moonblast here. So he goes for Rock Polish, as I do go for the Moonblast, and it does over 60%, or like 59% as you see. And I do get the Spadef drop, or Special Attack drop, which doesn't really matter. But doing over 60% or 50% is huge, because now everything, it's in range of everything on my team. Like obviously another Moonblast knocks him out, so yeah. And this really helps me in general, as now this Landorus is forced to pretty much stay in and take a hit. And if he doesn't, and he has to reveal a Z move right now, otherwise this thing goes, like, he's gonna die. So he goes for Earthquake, and I live the hit, and I go for another Moonblast, and Florges is already like putting in so much work here now. Getting rid of Landorus, yes, getting rid of Scizor was bad, but in a sense, that was very important, because now I just got rid of two of his biggest offensive threats and defensive responses for Girder. And now, like, this game is looking a lot easier for me to win. I just have to get rid of his Clefable like Clefable's like really the only other mon that I have to worry about, as well as Milo. And Milo, I just have to just toxic it with like Heatran and we're good, and we're Gucci. However, this does mean that Florges is very weakened now, so I don't really have much use for Florges anymore. But at the same time, there's not really much I can do with Florges at all, so I'm forced to switch out. The reason why I switched out here was because I did predict him to go for like, let's say, for a Hidden Fire Ground. Nah, that's kidding. I did want to see what he had for like for Roserade, but I didn't want to switch into Heatran. I had a healthy Latias in the response, so like the fact he kept going for Giga Drains implied to me that he doesn't have a status option. So yeah. And also, I could have just wished there, but get healthy with one of my mons, but now. But also, one last thing I will mention is that now, if I set up hazards, they're there to stay for the rest of the game, so that's good. He goes out, switches out, as I do get a Psychic to Death Drop, as you'll see. So I could pretty much OHKO this Clefable if I want to. However, taking advantage of this, I believe I do switch into Heatran. Yeah. As he goes into Scrafty, and he makes a very, very excellent double here. As now we're in a very... This is like almost like deja vu. As I don't want to risk, but with the paralysis. Like, of course, he has access to Dragon Dance, potentially. But the fact that he makes that double switch kind of implies that this is his only win con left. So I have to figure this out. So I go into Girder as he goes for a Dragon Dance, and I'm hoping he's not, you know, let's say Zen Headbutt or like some flying move. But I am very defensive in general, so I could just take a hit. So yeah. And now he goes back to Clefable as I go for Drain Punch, just because I didn't want him to like. I go to crit, but it doesn't really matter because he's gonna get it back to full in a way. So yeah. It would have been better if I went for knockoff, but then again, I have to respect for Scrafty, so yeah. So now I have to go back to Heatran, and I have to play the same dance. He goes for Rocks, as he reveals his last move. So he's not Calm Mind, so that puts a little bit of ease on my favor, so yeah. He switches out, he goes into Scrafty, goes for the Intimidate, so now I know that he is not Moxie, so I kind of knew earlier, but this is when I figured out, oh wait, he's not Moxie, so yeah. So that's pretty much me not paying attention in the battle as usual. I go into Scrafty again, as he goes for Mock or Drain Punch, as now I decide, you know what, I'm gonna knock off now. I want to remove these leftovers. Alright, this is getting annoying. So yeah. Here I make a very aggressive switch into, well, not an aggressive switch, but like kind of like a sack per se for Florges, as I'm gonna go for Blast, try to get a Death Drop or Special Attack Drop, as he goes into Cletus or switches or he goes for Moonblast with Cletus. So I do over 50%, thankfully. So yeah. Now this is time for the end game. So I go into Manaphy. Here I set up the Rain Dance. I honestly, thinking about it, thinking hindsight, I could have just, I'm gonna be honest, I could have just went for Rest here. Like, this is sort of like me being, or hindsight is 2020 here. I could have just rested here and recovered off the damage, and then I would have set up a Tail Glow and sweep. But I don't know. I think that's an error on my end, because that's something I think that was just like really bad. Because but at this point, I pretty much claim a kill. So I'm just gonna go for my Z Marie Dance. So yeah. And also it's kind of like an error on my end to like not look at rocks, because that's gonna affect the rest of the game. Because him, I thought he had Calm Mind, or he had something like, let's say, Encore. I didn't see the rocks at all. Like, I was like, wait, what? So I know this is like me just making like some little. These are like some major mistakes that I'm kind of like forgetting that like could just really mess up the battle. So in hindsight, I should have just went for rest here, because then I would have another act turn to set up, or just go for my Z move. But I kind of wanted to get rid of Clefable and just go aggressive, because I had a game plan now. Like, I don't need Manaphy anymore, in a way. All I have to do is just get Poison onto Milotic, or just get Girder to set up, and we win. So, yeah. However, the reason why I'm explaining this is because this game is going to go on for several turns, as you'll see, as it's not over. It's definitely not over, so yeah. Here, this is what I mean. Like I would have been a little bit healthier to be able to at least take a hit from Roserade, or even like switch out. So, but I knew that Manaphy's time was done. Basically, I didn't want to keep Manaphy around, so it was. And now I can confirm that this thing is scarfed. Like, I wanted to see what item this thing was. Basically, I didn't need, like, that's pretty much my reasoning, because I wanted to go for the Z move in case, like, he wants to switch into Scrafty, he wants to switch into Milo. So Milo would probably take it very well, but he gives me rest. He gives me a free rest turn. So that's what I went in response, or in retaliation, so yeah. I honestly should have paid attention to the attacks next to Fatal, so... Alright, so let's go back to the battle, so yeah. So we go into... Oh shit, sorry. I skipped the turn, so... So... Here we go back to Latias, as... Here he goes for a Sludge Bomb, and he does poison me. And it's gonna matter throughout this endgame, because now it's gonna be a little bit more trickier to figure out, okay, how am I gonna play around this Scrafty, because at this point, like, it's just pretty much Milotic and Scrafty versus the world. And if I ever get up a boost with my, if I ever Toxic either of those mons, or it's pretty much game. However, this Milotic hasn't revealed its item yet, and it could have, like, competitive, so I can't spam my secret tech move just yet, so for now I'm just gonna go for Recover, because there's not much I can do. Here I go for a Psychic, just try to get a Spadef drop, and just have him switch out to something I want. So I get into Flex, and I go for Drain Punch, and I just get some recovery. He goes for the thing, the Dragon Tail, and I do get some chip. Unfortunately, this Latias is pretty much getting worn down very fast. Faster than I anticipated, so... And I'm probably, at this point, trying to, I go for Ice Beam because I kind of wanted to go Freeze. Don't lie. Or I just want to catch the Scrafty. So, here I go for the Roost again, because there's not really much I can do at this point. Like, having Manaphy would have been very helpful just for this endgame. Here I go for Knockoff to see if he had a 50% berry, but he reveals the Rindle berry. Probably for my, for an Energy Ball set, so yeah. I don't want Girder to be very weakened now at this point, because there's no way I'm gonna be able to recover Girder off without having to, like, you know, go for Drain Punch onto Scrafty. So this is a very, very, very pretentious endgame at this point. So yeah. Yes, I go for another Roost. And at this point, I'm trying to get some switch-ins to some of my better mons, and I do get a free switch into Heatran, so... Now, this is gonna come down to another bunch of mind games, which... And actually, I don't really need Heatran at this point. I just need him to Toxic either Scrafty or Milo, since both of them don't have Rest, or they haven't revealed it yet, so yeah. So here he goes for Scald, and does a lot of damage to me, and I actually land my Toxic. Even though I missed, like, I don't know, 4 Toxic versus the other game, and I'm paralyzed. I find that that's a miracle that we landed a Toxic. So yeah, that's amazing on my end. So getting the Toxic on Milo was huge, as we have to now, we can wear down this thing. So it was in my favor to get the Toxic up, if you think about it, so yeah. Here he goes for Scald, as I reveal my Papa Berry, and I go for Taunt, so that way he can't recover. So now I have him trapped. So I keep going for Taunt at this point in the match, as there's no reason for me to, at this point, like, okay, if he stays in, he's gonna take another round of Toxic, and okay, So now this is a very important play. If he stays in, he's gonna take another round of Toxic, as I keep going for the move because I want to catch Scrafty again on the switch in, so that way he cannot set up with Dragon Dance. That's why I keep spamming Taunt, because there's just no other play. Like, my only other play is just to keep spamming Taunt, because I don't want Scrafty to set up a Dragon Dance at all. So that's why you'll see as he switches out, and I agree with his play here. I agree with his play, but I kind of read into that as I go for my Taunt move here. So yeah, here I go into Latias, as I want to see what he goes into or how he attacks into. So I could have just let him kill my Heatran and him get potentially burned. If he got burned, it would have been game, since he used Intimidate Scrafty. So yeah, he gets some recovery from that. So here I go for Charm, which is kind of funny, as he reveals Crunch, and I'm like, oh god, that's kind of funny. The taunt does wear off, and I go for Roost here, as he goes for Dragon Dances, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm gonna go for another. He goes for another Dragon Dance, and as I go for another Charm, he's I'm back to -2. So yeah, he goes for Crunch here, as I go for another Charm here, as I want to get a free switch in. So at this point, I get back into Girder. Pretty much good all around. He goes for Acid Downpour, and he actually crits me. Now, if this was another Z move, I actually could have lost this game. So yeah, I could have lost with the crit. So as you would have seen. So, but I am able to live that, and I get a good amount of HP back. So here I go into Drain Punch. He goes into Drain Punch. As I go into Drain Punch, it's not gonna do any much damage. But then again, like him. After all the hacks that happened, I kind of agree. I kind of hope that like he kinda brought it back a little earlier, but I still had my end game, which was Girder. So yeah. So now he has to pretty much recover almost every turn, and I go for a bulk up here, as I decide, you know, I'm gonna get some recovery back. Like, I don't really need Girder as much, as he gets into Heatran, and then I pretty much die to rocks. So at this point, also it's very dumbfounded for me that he doesn't have knockoff. Like, I don't know what other coverage he has, but the fact that he does not have knockoff pretty much saved my ass, as you'll see. As here I make another stupid play, and I go for Earthquake, forgetting that this thing also has Milo skill. And I'm like, oh god damn it, Kevin. Well, not me, not him, me. Like, I make a very huge misplay here, because now I realize, crap. This could come down to, like, this game could actually come down to whether or not I screw this up. And at this point, I'm like, okay, how is he gonna win this game? He has to hope I fuck up, and he has to get like multiple crits. So that's pretty much how he does it. So here I should have probably stayed in, because we already saw his entire moveset. Like, Murkot is kind of useless against my physical attackers at this point. Same with Dragon Tail, since it's only get into one of these two, as he has to kind of recover or spam Scald. So, but here I decided to go into Girder, of all Pokemon, and he goes for Scald, and he gets the burn. Now, if this would have, like, I thought he has, like, the reason why I switched into it was because I think he had to keep going for Recover. Otherwise, there was just no, he's gonna lose a lot more HP than usual, so yeah. Like, that's pretty much the reasoning for that, so. As he goes and gets, like, toxic damage to hell, like, here I decided to go for a Drain Punch, and I kind of say no, because like I was kind of implying that maybe I wasn't Guts, so yeah. At this point, he's kind of like trying to like avoid Girder from like winning, but Poison's pretty much gonna wear him down to the point where like that I was gonna win the game, so yeah. As Girder clutches this game out, so that is a good game to Kevin, so I kind of wanted to have this game more fun, more like, you know, friendly, like a form of a friendly match in a sense, since I kind of battled Kevin and we put team build together for like the past, I don't know, several months now. And I'll be honest, like he does team build with me regarding my other games with like uh some games in here, like only a couple here in like in PFA and also in my draft league. So no, not draft league, but like the draft tour I participated in. So yeah, if I have a bad matchup, I usually go to him. So but yeah, this game was very, very contentious. And honestly, there was a lot of things I could have done that would have made this game a lot more, how do I say it? More, how do I say it? In my favor towards the end. Like, let's say, like, going for rest with Manaphy, like, would have pretty much ensured that I had the game. As long as I had a bulky, like, self-sufficient tank like Manaphy, I know I could win a 1v1 versus Milo, especially if it's toxic. Like, I can always win that 1v1. And Latias is very much weakened, and if I didn't get poisoned with Latias, this game would have been a lot easier, so yeah. So, I think, let's just talk about the crit with Florges. The crit with Florges onto the Scizor was huge. I would not deny that, as the crit pretty much ensured that I was able to get Landorus, like, into a 2-hit kill, and he has to commit to attacking me, and also the crit on also ensured that Scizor was out of the picture and that I had rocks for the rest of the game. Though same with him, but I had like Defog and Florges, but at this point I was like, okay, he doesn't have any hazard forms of hazards like spikes or toxic spikes, so yeah, he would have revealed at any point in the game since he was forcing me out almost every time with the Roserade, so yeah. So yeah, the Clefable set was kind of null. Like, I guess I overprepared for that thing a little bit too much, or worried about it a little bit too much. Same with the Scrafty, though I think the Charm really ensured that Scrafty wasn't able to do like little to like crap damage to me. So yeah, I could have played this endgame a lot more safer if you asked me, but I felt like, you know what, I know how I'm gonna win, and I know how that Girder can just win this game. But yeah, I agree that like I wanted to get rid of Clefable and I want to confirm the item with Roserade. That's pretty much why I kind of did that in general, because if he wasn't Scarf, then how the hell does he beat the rest of my team? So yeah. If he wasn't Scarf Roserade, which I had a suspicion he was, but like then Manaphy just beats Roserade there just because it was already chipped down, and it's just between Scrafty, Manaphy, and Milotic versus the rest of the world. And Latias isn't toxic, so yeah, and also Girder is kind of healthy and doesn't have like a Z move then. And even then, if Scrafty gets too out of control, then I have Superpower with Crocodile. With if I could put it into like, let's say, range, I could pretty much win that game as well. So overall, I do think we played this endgame a little bit too safe, but I could have just played it more like a little bit too safe in the sense that we played risky. We played way too risky here and there. Like that's pretty much what I'm going with. And we just came out on top. So by the way, Kevin played this game phenomenally as well. I think it's just that the crit onto Scizor just, I will say that it kind of delayed. Like it would have been like a more like a back and forth game, but I do feel like once Manaphy sets up, it's pretty difficult to like beat Manaphy in of its own. So yeah, and that's really much all I have to say about this game. So next up, I already know that we're battling either Animus or Mav. I'll pretty much know by the next few days. So yeah, and we have like one other final to work on. So as we are now in another final, so it's kind of funny that like we're now in another finals of a league. So like I guess we're doing well, I guess. So The only thing I'll say is that we played this, like, I think we played the game like as best we can, like, despite all the little things here and there that we could have done. So yeah, Gerda came in clutch, Fortress came in clutch, Manaphy did its job, same with Latias, and Heatran as well. Like almost everyone but Crocodile did. So well, Crocodile ain't gonna be stealing any burgers or eating burgers anytime soon. So yeah, so all I'm gonna say is the last thing I'll say is that I'm not so sure when I'll upload finals. I'll probably upload it as soon as it happens within the next week, following weekend. So not this weekend or like this video's coming in for like the week before the week that I upload. So yeah, for that. So it's either gonna be one of those 2 weeks, and it's gonna be definitely in October. So it's like gonna be like around either the end of September or the beginning of October. So yeah, just look forward for that. So as we're gonna be contending for the first ever KCBL championship. So against either Mav, who I think is gonna be a very good opponent, and Amazes as who actually had like a very like slow start, but like actually picked it up very quickly. So both players are very good players. So yeah, we'll see what happens. So all right, so that'll be it for the Nidokings showcase. So that's all I have today. So take care, everyone, and root for the Nidokings. So yeah.